Dun, 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 dun.
Let's go. The Washington Commanders. There it is. And look, let's go down to that. Let's go down and talk about the offense and defense because, I mean, it was a collective of things that came together. The reason why we were so poor. You talked about it. We weren't able to get off the ground because what's my favorite stat? Third downs. We couldn't get third down.
Mm-hmm.
And this happened towards the end of the last game. Matter of fact, most of the last game. And up until, I believe, the fourth quarter of this one, I think there was a stat at one point that we were 0-16 on third down between the first quarter of Atlanta all the way through to when we finally got it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not winning football. We'll talk about all the sacks and all that stuff later, but if you guys, if you can't convert on third down, that's not complimentary football. You're not helping your defense. Now, What we know is our MVP is a monster, and I mean, his breaking records. Tressway had 10 punts for over 500 yards.
I knew we were going to get a Tressway stat.
I got to work it in.
I don't like when you have to give us the Tressway stats, though. That means things were bad.
Yeah, real bad. And look, it's embarrassing, but if you can't get your offense clicking, we talked about the longer routes, talked about the penalties, all these type of different things. I think that does go on EB. I think that does, because when you look at this, we have had slow starts all throughout the season. Now, we've been able to score and get it going, but go back to Denver. Denver, we get 3 points up until, right before halftime we score. Chicago, we can't get off the ground. We had 2 early 3-and-outs, and they get up 10-0. Buffalo, we're holding them to field goals, but it's still 16-0, where we're in the game, but we can't get out of our own way. You know what I mean? All of these games, with the exception of maybe the Philly game, all of these games, we're sitting here coming from behind, and we're coming from behind against guys that aren't even teams that we should be beating, our defenses that we should be able to scheme past, but something's got to give on this offense. EB players, I don't know what it is, but we got to figure that out. What do you think, man?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm completely with you. If you think about this game here, they had 2-3 drives with scoring opportunities, and the only touchdown of the game is because they dropped the punt.
Yeah,
we recovered the ball with the 20-some yard line, and we're able to score. That's the only way we got points. And the only other way we were getting points was because they were in prevent defense trying to not give up. And so we were able to pass the ball. But we continue. We've said it before where this team can't get out of their own way. And it takes one person doing something to take away. Time we sacked them on, I think it was third down with Chase and Montez, and Jamin's holding the guys. So they get an automatic first down. And it's and our offense can't recover from when we have penalties, when we have sacks, when we have run stuffed. I mean, I'm actually on the opposite side of you, where I'm ready to say, just shelve the running game. Go back to what you need to do against the Bears, because I'm sick of seeing runs on first or second down that now produce 2nd and 9 or 3rd and 10.
Yeah.
That's not helping our offense either. I would much rather you just go to the Tom Brady offense of, even if I throw the ball 2 yards downfield, I'm going to do that because it moves us down a little bit, and the catch and run, we get a little bit, because this whatever the schematic, the players, the calls, the scheme, it's just not gelling with the run game at all right now. And I'm seeing too many times we're calling a handoff, and we're back with a long, and then we're not moving the ball down far enough for me to say why are we still doing this? This isn't helping us.
And when EB came, what did we say? He's going to, these quick passes. These passes are going to help the quarterback. This pass game setting up the run. I was thinking we're going to do the run and shoot, the old Oilers offense. Pass, draw, handoff, and then create the big open lanes, spread them out, and get up the gut, as opposed to, like you're saying, first down run. And, hey, you know me. You called it out. I am a old school running back. Ab, you're with me on that. Give me I form all day, right up the gut. Tommy Meyer, baby, let's go. But that's not today's offense. We have our main weapons out there: Jahan, Samuel, Logan Thomas has proven that his hands are the truth. And McLaurin, and then Gibson, you're putting him out there. Feed these guys. Get these guys out in space so that you don't have to rely on this run game that is not working. Because like you said, in the time it's taken us to get this thing going, I mean, by the time we finally get some kind of progress, we're already down a couple scores. And now it's like, oh, well, now they know what we're going to do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Well, and it's also like there seems to be it's almost as if EB has joined our culture of coaching arrogance.
Yeah.
So we gave up another 6 sacks this week. How many games of 4+ sacks is it going to take for us to say we need to change something here?
Yeah.
And I even heard that we ran in the second half a whole lot more of tight ends staying back to chip and to block.
Yeah.
And, like we did some things to try and prevent this, and we're still getting beat. There's that play I think I sent you where 3 offensive linemen got fooled by a stunt.
Yeah.
3 offensive linemen get fooled, and the guy runs free to hit Sam. And it's like, this is just – that's what I'm saying. Like, something about this scheme is not gelling right now. And I believe it's some of it has to do with individual talent, lack of it. But this is just – this ain't working at all right now. It ain't working. I mean, these are the trying times, and I still have faith in Bieniemy, and this is what I want him to go through a little bit to say, like, if you're going to be head coach material, you got to bring us out of this. But he's had the last couple games of that have not been good.
Yeah, absolutely. What is going on, Chris? Be glad the Redskins don't have Titans issues. By the way, y'all in trouble with Eagles getting Kevin Byard.
Yeah, the rich just get richer. It's just ridiculous what the Eagles got going on.
That's how it is. But this is a great question by Ab. What if Ron Rivera handcuffed EB? There was a couple times on the sidelines where I'd see Ron kind of come over and be like, hey, blah, 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 and talking to him and stuff like that. And I don't know. My first thought was, bro, this is why you got EB here. You stay over there. You're not Andy Reid. You let him do what he needs to do. Now, maybe he was telling him because, hey, this ain't working. Let's try this, or let's get this person the ball. We don't know what he was saying, so we're just speculating. But at the same time, could this have been an issue? Could Ron be trying to say, I want to stick with what I told people. We're going to run. And EB's like, dude, I just came from Patrick Mahomes. We're throwing it all over the place.
I mean, it was documented last year that Ron is the one who went to Scott Turner and said, stop throwing the ball so much. We need to get back to ball control. You need to run the ball. Heineke can't be dropping back this much. So the philosophy changed because of what Ron did. Last year. So there could be something to that. It's hard to know because when you see the game, it really does look like EB's in control of the offense. Every time they span him, he's writing something down and talking. So it's hard to know. But from a philosophical standpoint, from a scheme, yeah, I mean, Ron could be involved in that. It's a great question put up here.
Chris, shout out to you. Say, I can't figure out why the Redskins thought Ron Rivera would be good. He wasn't good in Chicago or in Carolina beyond one season.
I went with this last week. Do you remember that voicemail that message I sent you? So Dan Snyder hired Ron quickly, and now he did some due diligence, during the season, and Joe Gibbs was behind it. But as soon as the season ended, all of a sudden we had our coach in the first 2-3 days, and everyone's like, Ron Rivera's coming here? Yeah. All right, this is good. It almost just reminded me to free agency, where we would go out and sign guys really quickly. Immediately. And we'd be like, hey, on paper, we just got this guy. And it's like, was he the right fit? Is he the right person for it? And that's where I think I'm most disappointed with Ron this year, because he's had a lot of junk that he had to go through as coach of when he started with the Redskins football team, now Commanders. That alone, the fact that you've had 3 team names just showed you, what his tenure was. But this was the year he was supposed to, this is his make or break year. And we're at the point now where if you were to ask Chris, being a Titans fan, what player from Washington would he want to have on his team? And he's going to name all the guys from the previous regime. And you can't even give Ron credit for Chase Young because that was given to him. And if anything, you could say Justin Herbert and Tua look pretty good, don't they? Did we really need another defensive end, or did you pass up a franchise quarterback? So that almost doesn't look good to him. So in 4 years as a coach-centric approach and being able to manage the draft, he hasn't brought in anybody that another roster would say, I really want that guy. Cam Curl's a good player, but he's not Terry. He's not Jonathan Allen. He's not Deron Payne. He's not Chase Young. He's not Montez Sweat. These guys weren't brought in by Ron. So that is a major concern as to what direction has Ron brought us in 4 years.
Oh, yeah. And then shout out to Cam Curl. I mean, but let's be very honest. He's been a very pleasant surprise because if you go outside of the NFC East and ask somebody, I don't think most people are going to know who that is unless they played against him and seen. And even still, I don't think they would know. So, I mean, shout out to everything that he's been able to do. But like you said, he's not one of these guys that we're like, that's guy they could say is the face of the team. Jonathan Allen or Terry. He's not one of those guys. He's a great secondary piece.
He's a good player. He's a good player on a team. He's a good player, but he's not. And post this thing about the Brandon Sheriff thing. Think about this. Ron Rivera inherited an offensive line with Trent Williams, Chase Roulier, Brandon Sheriff, and Morgan Moses. Now, Trent was kind of out the door, but he also could have tried to mend that relationship, say, It's me, I'm in charge. Instead, he just said, this is how we're doing things, and he shipped him out for nothing. We got peanuts on that trade. They lowballed Brandon Sheriff, on the extension, and he was like, I'm out of here, guys. It's the whole Jonathan Allen, 7 years of this. I'm tired of this stuff. Sheriff knew. He's like, well, I'm getting out of Washington. Look what he's done to our offensive line in the last 2 years. Name our offensive linemen. Our guards these last 2 years, we've gone in with guys who are old. We went into training camp trying to figure out who the left guard is, and we went out. We ended up with a fourth round pick who's been hurt for his first 3 seasons in the league as our starting left guard.
Yep.
What are these personnel moves? And you do this when you're going to start a rookie quarterback. Is that a recipe for success?
No. Will, it's frustrating. It is because sometimes it seems like they're trying to work against our best interest. It's like I'm not sitting here and act like we know all this stuff, but when we all can see what's going on and other teams are seeing this, I mean, just along the line, we'll talk about sacks later, but when Martindale is sending at least 5 guys on every single play, don't you think it'd probably be smart to at least leave a tight end in there? And I can't even say leave a running back in there because some of those running backs whiffed or got blown up and our quarterback got sacked. You know what I mean? But still, a couple games ago, we were doing some max protect. Now, they only put out two or three guys out on the routes, so that had to hit. But still, give him time. Give him some space. There's really something, and I'm going to say this. I've talked to you a lot about my guy, Sam. It's getting to the point now where I'll look at him mid-game, and he's like kind of looking around. And guys, you mentioned to me, guys are saying, hey, the pressure's coming from here. Here comes the blitz. And Sam will give you one of those, okay. And it all goes away after that. And then he just so it's when you keep getting sacked, then you talk about the phantom sacks with Carson Wentz and all that. There are times where he's back there and he'll pull it down really quickly and like, all right, how do I get out of here? You know what I mean? And it's a detriment to him, the offense, but you don't have time to throw it. It's rough. Will,
I want to know why is my quarterback not out there stomping his foot, yelling hot route, red 7, right to where the blitz is coming from. Yeah. And when, like you said, Wink Martindale, we know what he does. He blitzes.
Yes.
How is the game plan not coming? Where are the audibles to say, if you see this, do this?
Right.
So that catch and throw. I say it every doggone week about Sam. Move the pocket, run some screens, do some things to get him going early.
Yes.
I'm about to steal some of my stuff for when we talk about the sack stuff. But it's like, do stuff to make him get comfortable at the beginning of the game, and then bring in some of your further dropbacks, your longer developing plays. But let him get going into a rhythm first. He's a young quarterback. Come on. He's a young quarterback in an NFC East game. Only his second NFC East game. Baby him in. This is where I get frustrated about the enemy's scheme. Why can't we go back to what we did with RG3? you're going to look to the right. You got option number 1. You got option number 2. If those aren't open, run the ball.
Yep.
That's what Shanahan did for him, so that he could figure out how to move the ball.
Yeah.
Why can't we simplify things for Sam right now?
No, we need to. We absolutely need to. And I'm gonna flip. I'm gonna go now to the defense, because the defense, albeit we've been struggling, but let's be honest, the defense has been doing their damnedest to keep us in the game. That's why what Jonathan Allen said was so mind-blowing when you really break it down, because it's like, dude, he almost was. It goes back to, I want to say about somewhere in between 98 and 2003, 4, 5. We had Marcus Patton on our defense, number 53. And our defense was one of the top 5 defenses, but we had a terrible offense. And at one point in a Giants game, Marcus Patton shut them down, and then the offense came on the field, gave them the ball right back. And you see Marcus Patton is walking past, I think it was one of the quarterbacks, and he said, he's bull. We're coming out here and we're shutting these guys down. We're giving you guys the ball, and then we're not having any time to rest. You are sitting there and killing us worse than they are. Like, this is crazy. And I think Jonathan Allen is saying it to the management, but he's also saying it to the O-line.
Mm-hmm.
Like, figure something out, because this is ridiculous. If we are sitting here, we talk bend but don't break. If that's what's going on, if we are sitting here trying and relying on our defense, well, how the heck is our offense even giving them the opportunity if you're sending them out there 3 plays later? And sometimes those 3 plays aren't even a full minute, because sometimes it's 1 run, stop. Quick pass, incomplete. 2-yard pass, down. Now we're punting. And then all of a sudden, now this defense that's just been able to sit down and squeeze the water is now back in the game. And I'm telling you, they're not only getting frustrated, but they're pissed off. And I understand that, Will. I understand that, man. What do you think, man?
Absolutely. No, I'm with you. I mean, we said earlier, this season we were getting concerned against the Bills and against the Bears with how bad the defense was playing. And they seem to have fixed some of these things. Right now they're running that single package a lot, and that's kind of stopping the run and, forcing people to pass the ball. So they've been able to kind of not be good, but be serviceable. You held the team to 14 points, and your offense does nothing. Our defense is not going to be top 5. We don't have the type of playmakers at the back end, to really flip games. Hence why they wanted to get Emmanuel Forbes. But, we don't have guys that in our secondary that really scare quarterbacks to say, "Ooh, I better not throw there. I better be careful with my throw." Kendall Fuller makes some interceptions. He jumps routes a little bit, but, BSJ is not a ball hawk. Derek Forrest is not a ball hawk. He's out, injured right now anyway. Cam Curl's not a ball hawk at all. We got nobody that back there that's going to be flipping the field very, really well. And so it's going to be a situation where the defense is going to give up yardage, which is going to get them gassed, which is they're going to need some time to rest to go back out there, because they're not this dominating 3 and out, tons of pressure, scare the living daylights out of a quarterback type defense. But even with that, they still went after the quarterback and made some plays. They had 4 sacks last week, or in the game. Chase and Montez were after the quarterbacks. Chase had a good game last week. Again, he had another good game. He's put a string together. 14 points, man. Got to be able to win a game if you give up 14 points.
Yeah. And then I messaged you after halftime. And I was like, you know what? Our defense isn't playing bad. And the last thing you had seen was when Saquon had broke free with the terrible tackling and got the touchdown. But since that point, just like what was it last week? Since that point, we were shutting them down. Since that point, the Giants weren't able to really, start moving it down on us. And obviously we shut them out in the second half. But from their perspective, you're sitting here and it's almost like, what are we playing for now? Because if we don't get the ball, and that was the whole theme of the draft, get guys, ball hawks, get guys that are going to create turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they're not doing that, what's the adjustment?
They're not even on the field.
Right. I can't, it keeps going back to Ron. It keeps going back to him. But at the same time, I'm going to give him the benefit of doubt on this and say the players still have to go out there and do it. You know what I mean? Some of these schemes, some of these things are contested passes. Some of these things, like you talk about the split sack by Montez and Chase, where it gets called by a penalty. That was a third down.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And Jamin Davis is just looking like, oh, man. No, these other players need to be like, dude, we were getting off the field. Like, I need more fire from that. And going back to the comment Jonathan Allen made, we need a little bit more of that fire. I need a little bit more of that.
On the field. I mean, we don't need to see the fist fight that we had in Dallas a couple of years ago, but we need some guys getting in other faces.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Johnny said, I've noticed the teams that control the middle of the field are the ones kicking ass on both sides of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that ain't our team.
No.
Especially when we have the ball. That is not our team when we have the ball.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But, Will, anything else on this defense, man?
No. Yeah. Wasn't pretty.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. And at the end of the day, you know what? It's funny because at the end of the day, I don't even feel good about saying we held the Giants to 14 points because we should have done. We should have done that. Like we should have held them to less than that. Like maybe that's me. Maybe I think that our defense is a lot better than it is. Maybe that's what everybody else in the media is saying. Oh, this front four, they have one of the top front fours in the league. I don't know what y'all been seeing, but that ain't it.
Right.
That ain't it.